Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Broke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Jago beat. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the spec. Ordinal's the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin and crypto ecosystems. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the OnChain Hour, and today is going to be phenomenal, guys, because it is officially, it's Liberation Day. I just think of Frozen for some reason. I mean, maybe because I'm a dad and I had to watch it 10 times, but the girl Anna running around, it's Coronation Day. I don't know. I just feel like someone in the White House is singing it. What this means, it's just tariff day, right? It's just tariffs going into effect. If you have a tariff against the US, we're going to put that same tariff against you. It is also going to be 25% on all cars, 25% on Canada, and 25% on Mexico, and 25% on any country who does business with Venezuela. I don't know why. Don't really care. I just want this to be behind us. I want this to be yesterday's news, and finally going to get that tomorrow. Really excited for what this is going to do for price action, because the markets are always forward looking. With this being in our rear view, with this being old news after we get there, it's really going to put the markets in perspective of we can finally go higher. This has been the big bad wolf. Hopefully at 4 o'clock today, Trump comes out, does what he has to do, because it is necessary, right? And you can argue either way, but potentially it could be necessary. I don't know. I trust in what he's doing. I trust that he has America in his best interest, but who knows with politicians and the way things go. I'm just bullish on crypto. I'm bullish on decentralization. I'm bullish on everything. That none of that matters, right? None of that matters. We're on chain. Screw you guys. We're not playing your game. We're playing our game, and that's decentralization. That's on chain. That's crypto, and that's what OnChain Revolution is bringing you every single day. So without further ado, let's get this show started. Bringing my partner here as always, Mr. Iago B. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
What's up, man? So it's Liberation Day. How you feeling on Liberation Day?
There's like this eerie quietness kind of in the space. We talked about looking for news and stuff. It's just quiet, but one thing that isn't really too quiet is Bitcoin's price action. So, it seems like it's trying to say maybe, hey, I like this Liberation Day, and we knew this was coming, so it was baked in, like we've been kind of talking about, right? So I like what I'm seeing so far, but still kind of looking, side eyeing it right now because I know what Bitcoin has done the past 2-3 months. Every time it gives us some hope, it pulls back. But truly, this could be that opportunity, like that new thrust into like a new bullish period that we've been talking about,
Yep.
right? Because the catalysts are coming up, and today's Liberation Day, and it looks like it likes it so far.
Well, Bitcoin does, but nothing else does, right? So Ethereum is down 1% today, while Bitcoin's up. My towel bags are down. My fluid bags are down. My Magic Eden bags are down. Like, Virtuals is having a good day. Eliza's having a good day. But like Nvidia is down today, right? Gold is sitting pretty flat from yesterday. So it does seem like Bitcoin's like the only one who's really liberating today.
Yeah, and it's not huge. It's not a huge increase, but
Yeah.
it is up. It's an uptrend that has started. So I'll take it, right? I'll take anything at this point.
No, I agree. No, Bitcoin's the tide that lifts all boats, right? Bitcoin has to go first. We all know that. Bitcoin has to hit 90,000, and then everything else will really start moving. And I think this time is going to be different. I know that people hate hearing that, but I think that this time all coins kind of run with Bitcoin instead of the Bitcoin dominance getting to 70, which some people are saying. I don't think that happens. I think Bitcoin dominance in April and May is going to fall, while Bitcoin's price rises, and you're going to see some crypto roll with it. I think the time is now. I think we're in Q2 now. We're in April now. I think some things are about to change, and I think they're going to change in our favor finally.
Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of catalysts coming up, guys, and forward looking is I think the statement that we got to remember.
Yeah. Well, let's just, for anyone who doesn't really understand it, let's just kind of put it in perspective. So, Liberation Day refers to April 2nd, 2025, which is today, when President Trump plans to announce tariffs aimed at reducing U.S. reliance on foreign goods. The announcement is scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern time. He's probably going to be 20 minutes late. It's kind of what Trump does. Israel has removed all remaining tariffs on U.S. imports to strengthen ties and avoid Trump's reciprocal tariffs. And then Canada says if the U.S. removes theirs, they'll remove. Yeah, it's Canada.
What is
Yeah,
that
just
about? Is that like a
I don't
pride thing?
I think so. I think that I'm sorry if anyone's Canadian here, but you guys are the 51st state. Just get used to it. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You don't have an
Oh,
army. Like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You don't have an army though. But if that goes too far, I apologize.
yeah. I don't know. Patapoo's from. I think he's from up there, but Patapoo knows how to take jokes, so I think we're good.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
I just remembered that those meme
Was I
quotes that he
joking?
would
Yeah.
launch. Remember? So yeah, he definitely knows how to take jokes.
All right, so huge announcement from GameStop. They announced 1.48 billion in proceeds to be used for Bitcoin and corporate purposes, but the Bitcoin word was first. How much of this do you think is actually going to go into Bitcoin? How many? I think it's going to be 90%. I'm curious how you feel.
I think it's going to be a large percent, but I think strategically they might split it up. Maybe they don't. Maybe Sailor, they do a Sailor, and Sailor's like, look, man, like I never split it up. Every time I get available capital for this, it all goes towards it.
Yeah.
But they just might have a little bit of anxiety. Maybe I don't know. Look, I do think that they're trying to do this MicroStrategy blueprint, MetaPlanet blueprint, but I think they also have to know that, like when MicroStrategy did it, they went all in. When MetaPlanet did it, they went all in. So if GameStop does this, they got to go all in, meaning culture. You got to create the culture.
Yeah.
MetaPlanet had a conference, like 2 weeks ago, and I think Eric Trump was there, or he at least had a live stream saying, he believes in Bitcoin so much and all this stuff, and everybody was going crazy in the MetaPlanet in Japan, the conference and stuff, right? So I think GameStop, if you're going to do this, go full in like they did. Embrace the culture of Bitcoin. Get your shareholders to be embracing it like MicroStrategy does, and I think they will have success if they do that.
Yeah, I agree. But we have to remember Ryan Cohen, who is the CEO of GameStop, he's a stock investor, right? He recently invested in Chewy, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, what happens if he just puts a portion of this in Bitcoin and maybe he buys Chewy stock with some of it? Maybe he buys other stock. Maybe he buys this stock. How do you feel about something like that? That could be, I don't think that's going to be good for GameStop. I think the stock would drop.
Yeah, I would. Like I said, if you do it, you got to go full kind of, diving into it. But
Yeah.
the only caveat maybe would be is if like they invested in that new mining company that the Trumps
Yeah.
are trying to do. Something like that, but still like majority I think needs to be allocated towards Bitcoin, especially if they're trying to follow the blueprint. Like
Yeah.
don't try to fix something that hasn't been broken at least yet, right? In terms of MicroStrategy and MetaPlanet, and then create your own blueprint. That's where things go kind of wrong sometimes, right? So
Yeah.
I agree. I think keeping their focus on what the goal is here, and that's to get a solid foundation by embracing Bitcoin culture while you're, as a company, investing in it to build that foundation.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100% agree. All right, we'll jump to the next thing here. Newsmax NMAX is up 2,000% since the company went public yesterday. So yesterday at 9:30, they officially went public. They went public at $10, and by closing yesterday, they were at $210. They were up 2,000% yesterday. Look at this, and I know this isn't crypto, but this is a crypto type of move here. When a coin comes out and it does a ICO, and then it just ramps to 210, right? This is absolutely insane. But what this does, this now puts everyone on notice of IPO season. And we had this a lot in the stock market. We had last time we had this was September, November. I looked into this of 2021, where everyone was rushing to the market to do an IPO. That's when you had Snowflake, you had a bunch of other ones, tech companies rushing to do
Nicola,
IPOs. Yeah, Nicola, saying yeah, exactly. And it was absolutely insane. They would hit the market and then do 1,000% in a day, and then kind of fall back. Very, very crypto like. But what
yeah.
this does is this puts new money on the sidelines back into the system, and this causes other people to make money, which is actually used to eventually get risk on. If the stock market gets risk on, crypto gets risk on, and that means alt season. That means the altcoins start running. I'm actually tired of saying alt season because I don't think alt is a season. I think it's just a risk on season. I think risk on, and that's what makes your altcoins go up, right? When people are feeling risky and people want to make money, risk off is Bitcoin season, and we've been seeing that for a long time.
Yeah, and I think maybe they called it that because to the people outside of crypto community last cycle, not now,
Ooh.
everything was considered risk on, But now I agree with you, changing that kind of perspective of, you know, uh, like you said, not alt season, more of risk on season, because now Bitcoin is looked at as the non-risk, obviously,
Yeah,
even from TradFi people to an extent. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Newsmax is actually a great company to kick this off with because they're not,
yeah,
too speculative, right? Like something like Nikola, which
yeah,
there was multiple tech companies during that period. Look, I fell into that because it was just like, dude, you're printing money off of those things. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then really quick, opposite of printing money happened.
yeah,
Once they crashed. That's why like sometimes I like whenever people talk about Kathy Wood and stuff like that, man, she had a huge portfolio full of tech stock,
yeah,
IPOs, and all these things. But Newsmax is, in my opinion, safer because it's not. Yes, there's tech involved with that company, but it really is kind of like the new Fox News is what they're being kind of
yeah.
labeled as, right? So it's a good company to kick things off and then slowly get a little bit more risk on, and then it's going to eventually get full blown. But we'll see how long that takes.
Yeah, they're saying it's the Fox News without the Murdochs. I'm not really sure who the Murdochs are, but I guess he's the owner of Fox. I don't know. But anyway, moving along here. But this Newsmax news is big because now Circle has filed for an IPO. We know that they were raising money the other day, but now seeing what happened to Newsmax yesterday, they're actually they're kind of pushing up their date here. They want to do it as soon as possible, meaning this week or maybe next week. So Circle has filed for IPO, planning to list its Class A common stock on NYSE under the symbol CRCL. Circle. It's pretty insane. And then Trump-backed mining firm that just launched 2 days ago plans to go public potentially in this month as well. So people are rushing now after seeing what Newsmax did to get these IPOs underway.
Maybe it was an indicator for them. They're like, "Wow, that performed."
Yeah,
Yeah, we thought it would be a good performer, but like it overperformed, and maybe people are looking to deploy. Look, Warren Buffett has tons of cash right now.
Yeah.
And so, whether he likes crypto or not, whether he obviously didn't a lot. He hated it before, but I think he's a smart enough person. I don't know, because he is old now, and people can kind of get stuck in their ways. But for him, what made him successful throughout his entire thing is he kept emotions out of it. You know what I mean? And so if he can keep his emotions out of it and really say, hey, look, this is an opportunity of a lifetime to get in something like that mining company or Circle, actually, because Circle, probably he's more attracted to that because they do have the institutional banking ties. As much as you hate to hear it, they do have that, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see, because let's just say if Circle crushes it, and the new Bitcoin mining company from that's partnered with Trump's involvement there crushes it, I agree with you. There's going to be contagious type of habitual type of, or like habit built up of like it's aggressive. It's time to get aggressive, and then that eventually always trickles back to where we are.
Yeah, 100%. If eToro, we know they're launching potentially this month, right? And Circle, and now American Bitcoin Mining. If these all come out and they get bought up, they do 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x, right? 20x going into the IPO. I mean, you're going to see companies like Gemini force their IPO going in. You're going to see crypto.com kind of push that button as well. You're going to see every single person being like, all right, the time is now. Because what that means is that money, the money sitting on the sidelines is coming in. And if they're investing in IPOs are the riskiest thing in the stock market, because you don't know what they're going to do. There's no data. And a lot of these guys are data driven, and there's no data on something like Newsmax. It's never been, right. It was private, went public. So these are really risky for the modern investor. For us, I mean, this is something we do every day, right? It's something new launches we get in day one. This
is safe for us. No, just kidding.
There's a website. We're good. Like,
is there a Twitter, Telegram? What?
Yeah, man. But if anyone doesn't know, Trump-backed mining firm American Bitcoin is something we covered earlier during the week. But HUD 8 partners with Trump-backed firm to launch American Bitcoin mining company. So this is all they did was HUD 8 was like, all right, these miners are yours. You guys are a company, but we take 80%. And they're like, okay. So it's not like new hash rate coming on the system. It's just HUD 8 was like, let's just create this sub company because the Trumps are involved. But it's pretty funny. But moving along here. Arthur Hayes predicts Bitcoin could hit 250,000 by the end of 2025, citing the Fed's shift toward Treasury QE, massive liquidity injection as the catalyst for a major bull run. This is the same guy 30 days ago came out and said he's expecting $64,000 Bitcoin. Right, the same guy who came out and said, at 106,000 that we're going to head down, and we did. He was right. And now he's saying 250K in the next 8 months. Pretty wild.
Yeah, he was right. He was right. Because I'll give him the dub on that, because I think we got to I can't remember, man. It's like 76. Did we get back to 76, 77?
Something like that.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, low 70s.
Yeah, maybe even 74. But like for him to call 70, it was more about like where the trend changed and how far. Like I'll give him that win there. And so if he feels in tune with kind of the flow of Bitcoin's trend with price action, even if he might be undershooting here a little bit, he might be overshooting a little bit, but I think if he gets in within range, that's fine. 220 to 400 to 450, because you still have next year to hit that top target from Plan B, right? So it could kind of play into that. This to me is bullish.
Yeah, with Plan B, you technically have until the next halving to hit an all-time high, right? Like there's no, he's not saying that it has to happen for the bear market. I mean, we could go 250K, and then maybe November of next year hit that 700K number that he's kind of pushing towards. I mean, it's definitely possible that would be a super cycle. That's to say we can start getting really bullish in April, May. Maybe we have a little bit of sideways going into the fall, and then really bullish going into Q4, Q1, Q2, Q3 of next year, and then potentially have that 1 year bear market before we we have it again. That would be a super cycle, right? That would be, potentially we might not even get a bear market, right? Like, I mean, there's things that are different this time in the sense of the cycle. So who knows? People might be selling way too early at the end of this, thinking, Bitcoin at 280K, and then it just keeps going up, right? You just don't know what's going to happen. So there's no point in trying to guess, right? At this point, it's just be ready for everything. Be ready for, Bitcoin to hit 700K, but be ready for 250 to be a top. Be ready for 200. Let's just make sure all your ducks in a row for every situation. Just don't get all in, don't get all out.
Yeah, I agree with that. And when we would talk about super cycle 6 months ago or even longer, the phrase super cycle just sounds so good, right? It sounds, oh man, like we're gonna continue on, but then you don't actually break down what it entails, and that entails survival. Number one, you got to get through the downs because like the ups are great, but like the downs can be extended. We've already kind of, and expectations. When you hear super cycle, it's such a positive phrase, like from a connotation point of view, right? But you don't talk about like the in-betweens, and it'll be worth it in my opinion once you do reach, the Valhalla stage or multiple and stuff like that. But yeah, be ready on your toes. The one thing that the Q1 has taught me is don't invest your emotions into an expectation. Don't invest all your emotions into an expectation, right? For a trend, a historical trend, because I think like that's what we kind of the whole space expected for Q1, and it's a learning. I think it's a learning lesson.
Yeah, I mean, like for the last Q1, I know a lot of people your bags are down pretty bad, right? Sometimes 80-90%. But to your point, this is all, this is education. Education's expensive, but you just can't make same mistakes twice. You just can't keep making the same mistakes over and over to learn from your mistakes. And I think it would, if you can just take this as a learning experience, you can take it and use that for when we are doing really well and you're sitting there and you're like, oh wow, I never had this much money in my life. If you say that to yourself, it's time to take profit. You know what I mean? If you think that, if you screenshot it to save it for later, it's time to take profit, right? Even if you take a little bit off the table, maybe put some in your bank account, or just leave it in Bitcoin, right? Let's just do something to lock in these gains this time. And that's something that, we made a lot of money during the ordinals and stuff, but like, a lot of it went into ruins. We know how that went, right? So, but we know that everything's going to come back and everything's going to do really well again, but you just have to remember to take profit. And, it could be really hard, but that's what I learned personally.
Yeah.
I learned that I gotta take profit.
I agree with you on that. In the Ordinal and Bitcoin bull run in 2023, it was a little bit unfortunate. Yes, like we were all blessed if you were paying attention and you crushed it, right? But because like it's so weird, the people that were involved then and are still here, like the timing could not have been like more thrown off for like the mental perception of things. We're like, we were in the bear market and we were like thinking like, okay, 4-year cycle. We're not there for 4-year cycle, but we're doing well over here. We just thought it was like extra. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. In that time period, probably stacking sats would have been that is the best when you're not kind of now the cycle could be disrupted. We're gonna kind of see what happens going on from here.
Yeah, 100%. Moving along here. So Elon Musk urges Supreme Court to block IRS access to Coinbase user data. So the IRS is going after Coinbase, saying we want the data. We want to know who is holding crypto assets. We want to know when they bought, when they sold. We want to know all this stuff. Do you think this is a big deal? And why do you think Elon Musk is champion? Because he has nothing to do with Coinbase, right? Like, why do you think he's putting his hat in the ring on this? I feel like he puts his hat in every ring, but he's definitely throwing his hat in this one.
I'm not sure, man. Like this one's a little weird. Maybe like okay, so is this a part of it? It's like
I'll read this out. Okay. So Elon Musk X joins researchers and advocacy groups in urging the U.S. Supreme Court to block law enforcement from forcing companies like Coinbase to hand over user data. So this is kind of the same thing. I just wanted to take this out of that because it was two different things, and this one had a little bit more information in it, but the other one was just a better headline. But what do you think? What's going through your mind when you're reading this?
One, maybe that Elon wants the crypto industry on his side, right? Because like you saw from this last election cycle that
Yeah.
crypto played a big part, and so that's one. Two, he's kind of angling this as kind of like user data protection, but at the end
Yeah.
of the day, all social media takes our user data, right? It's kind of like I'm not sure what the angle is, but I hope that it does. Like I mean, like you want to be able to have clean rules, and I think that the IRS needs to work with the SEC to be able to determine, or the FTC, like in terms of consumers, right? Because like we're users, we're consumers as well, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays
Yeah.
out, right? Because the IRS wants it for why? To see like who's skimping out, to see whatever, right? So the people that are already reporting their crypto transactions and stuff, they're fine. It's the ones that aren't,
Yeah.
and what's going to happen with that, right? So it's going to be interesting, but definitely want to see what the outcome of this ends up being.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of it too is just like it's really hard, especially when you're doing like ordinals and stuff, to kind of calculate how much exactly you make, right? It's almost impossible at times when you get into something and then you bridge it to Maryland, and then you sell it over there, and you bridge that Bitcoin back, and it's like, oh, what was the? It's nearly impossible, and we got to find new ways to do this stuff if they want to keep doing it the same old way. It's not going to work, right? So, but we do know that Elon wants to make X a financial institution, right? We know that Elon. So could this be a part of that? Elon doesn't want, Elon is in the process of creating this, and he's already kind of seeing the IRS overreaching technically to the law and going at Coinbase saying we want your user data. I mean, that's not normal. I mean, it's normal for banks, but it's not normal for companies to hand over user data like this, is it? Because can they
Um,
force eBay to be like, "We want your financial data?" Like,
they
I don't know.
could, yeah. I mean, they could subpoena it, or there's already like
Yeah,
some sort of information. I mean, like these Web2 companies already have kind of
yeah,
their flow of, okay, look, here's your W whatever for your last year of sales
yeah,
with, right? And so Coinbase is already doing that though.
yeah,
So I think it could be the IRS just trying to see maybe where they can. And I do think that they would go for like really large,
players, yeah,
accounts, yeah, players, that might be skimping out on reporting or whatever. But at the end of the day, I do think it's going to be important to see how this plays out. And I do think you have a point. We'll probably see here in the next 6 months, 6 to 12 months, if X does roll out this. That's his dream. It's always been his dream.
yeah,
The one platform for everything, the everything app, right? And the
yeah,
financial part's a big part of it. So he probably has some interest with that.
yeah, 100%. I agree. Looking forward to, XPay. Hopefully, there's some crypto in there as well. I mean, with him working with Trump right now, it's just like I feel like there's gonna be something for him in eventually, right? And whether it's like, hey, like, let's get my business going here. I don't know. I don't know, Elon. I don't
Yeah.
know, Elon's like that, but former FTX EU customers can now begin claiming their euro funds through Backpack EU with the identity verification as the first step now live. So this is the bigger players now that are able to claim their crypto or USDT or USDC or whatever it was. They're able to claim it in cash now through Backpack. We do know in December, smaller users were able to claim this, but now the bigger players can finally play. Do you think this has something to do with the price action, potentially moving upward momentum with the FTX money finally hitting accounts?
With Bitcoin's price action, possibly
Well,
some.
period, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah. I
everything.
mean,
Like, I mean, in April, do you think like if April starts moving, do you think that's from the FTX accounts?
I think it'll have some to do with it, because you have to remember, there's a certain decent percentage of those users that, I mean, they were in crypto, so they have some similar mindset to us, right? Like,
Yeah,
so when that happens, they're thinking of what can I put into right now, and when else would there be a better opportunity to get into solid, projects
yeah,
than now, for especially the alts, right? Like they're all beaten up, so I
yeah.
do think so.
Yeah, man, I agree. The last thing here, if we're getting to fear and greed, VanEck files to establish a trust entity in Delaware for a proposed BNB ETF. So we've heard every single ETF possible, especially the blue chips, right? We heard ADA, we heard XRP, Cardano, Doge, Litecoin, a bunch of other ones. We haven't heard BNB until today. This is the first time a company has come out and VanEck files for a BNB ETF. Why do you think none of the bigger players haven't like pushed this through yet in VanEck? And why do you think VanEck's doing it now?
I think VanEck is probably more risk averse, or no, sorry, more risk on type of out of all of the major ones, right? And BNB to the other ones, they're a little bit more risky. But you see big moves with like the Trump organization launching the stable coin. Maybe that gave them some comfort as well. Because I mean, like whenever you come out of TradFi, they're always more conservative than anything from our market, right? But VanEck, I think they've been pretty like aggressive in terms of like their marketing. I think once the Bitcoin ETF came out, I think were they the ones that did some like really cool stuff with their Twitter account talking about like Bitcoin and maybe like the Bitcoin ecosystem.
I think that was
no
Franklin
that was
Templeton.
yeah, that was Templeton. You're right. That was Templeton. So yeah, I'm not sure. But BNB, in my opinion, you're seeing some reasons to possibly lay some bets on them, right?
Yeah.
Like I just mentioned, the stable coin from the Trump organization, and then look, love Binance or hate Binance, they're the biggest exchange as of right now, right? So
But that's the thing, right? They're an exchange. Like this is the chain token, right? Like we haven't seen anyone come out and say the Crow token, right? We haven't seen. There's no other exchange token, and exchange token. I mean, ADA is the chain token, right? And then you have XRP. I don't know what the meme coin. I guess I don't know if it even is it. You pay gas on Ledger
yeah,
with XRP. Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, I guess it's a chain token. Doge, Doge is a chain token, but like BNB is a chain token, but it's also heavily backed by Binance firm. It's it's very centralized by Binance. Do you think this is a good idea? We do know that Binance and Wintermute, what they've been doing lately, hasn't been good for the crypto markets, no matter if it's legal, illegal, whatever. It really hasn't been good. Do you think this is a good idea for VanEck to do this?
I think that it's still a blue chip, and it's
Yeah.
one of the majors, and so because it's like, I mean, it's China's chain, really, right? If you
Yeah.
think about it, so I think they're looking at it from that level, from a like a geo market. It's like you have the United States and you have China, and then Russia might come in after that or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
it's not really. It's the United States and China in terms of financial markets and stuff, right? So I think they're laying their bet that way.
So would you consider BNB up there with like TikTok and the other Alibaba and all the other Chinese
For
companies?
crypto,
Would you wrap them in? Okay.
yeah, for crypto, yep. I would.
All right. All right, let's kind of get into that Bitcoin fear or crypto fear and greed here. Last Wednesday was a 47, yesterday was a 34. I'm not gonna give you a close hint today. I'm gonna make you guess it. So we're closer to last week and than anything. And last week was a 47. We're nowhere near yesterday's 34. What do you think we are?
42.
Dude, pretty much right on. 44, right there. Back in neutral after being in fear yesterday. Where do you think we are going to be in about 8 hours from right now when the
56.
the zero? Think we'll be at 56? Really?
I do.
Wow, that's bullish. That's really bullish, especially going into a Thursday. That'd be really big. We could have a really good day tomorrow if that's the case. Really looking forward to tomorrow. Let's go. So right now I'm seeing on my clock 86.3 for
Well,
Bitcoin.
I'm thinking about tonight because that's what's going to
Yeah,
give me
yeah,
my
yeah.
score tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But if it's 56 tonight, tomorrow could be insanely bullish, right? I mean, it could really kind of push. If we see 87, 88, people are gonna be like, oh, this is going back to 90, right? Or do you think people will have a mindset of, take profit here?
I think we'll have a little bit of that, but I mean,
Yeah.
we're and we'll get into it here in a second, but we're right on the the door of 87. We just crossed 87,000.
Ooh, nice. So
Yeah.
let's kind of get into that. Let's get into the Bitcoin price action, guys. Brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Later today, we're going to be doing a trading competition, 150x leverage. It's going to be fun, but it'll be just paper trading, right? We're going to have some fun with it, but we're going to learn. We're going to talk to some traders about their ideas and what's going through their head and their processes. It's really going to be really educational for somebody who's just getting into leverage. Leverage is a beast. Educate before you play, or go high leverage on low money, right? Don't put a lot of money into leverage, or you can take advantage of Artura.finance paper competition and go to Artura.finance today, and you guys can load up a Botonics testnet wallet, and then go to the site. You can claim your USDT and your Bitcoin. It is working. It is working. So you guys can definitely do that. We actually did it this morning, and I want you guys to go do it today. So you guys can participate with us as well. It's paper trade, and one trade kind of locks you in. And also, they said it yesterday, but you want to be trading Tau. What's the other ones? XRP and Ethereum, right? You definitely want to be trading those. Bitcoin might not get you into the raffle, but there's other three will, because they're trying to kind of push those other tokens as well. So definitely want to check out Tor.finance. And just remember, they're going on mainnet very soon. They're going to be on Hemi. Hemi is backed by Binance Labs, which means potentially, if you use Artor.finance on Hemi mainnet, you potentially could get an airdrop of a Binance-backed token, which could get listed on Binance. Not saying it's going to happen, but there's still an opportunity there for it to happen. I want you guys to take advantage of every opportunity, especially if it's free and it's easy to play, low leverage, right, and low money, and you guys can earn potentially way more than you can possibly lose. It's easy. It's only your time, and definitely check out Artura.finance.
Yep, guys. And also, before we get into the Bitcoin price action, if you could help us out like you do every day, we appreciate that. On the YouTube side, hit that like for us, and then subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. Also, on the X side, guys, please help us share the space so we can educate, onboard as many people to crypto and the Bitcoin ecosystem as possible, as well as the abstract stream, guys. If you're watching over there, if you could share that stream. But let's get into some Bitcoin price action, which I will be using TradingView again today, because I think they are updating that TradingView side. The other side works fine. The TradingView side on Artura right now, they are updating that to be live. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action with you guys. Bring your screen down here, and then there goes mine. All right, perfect. And we are starting with the hour chart, but this looks beautiful. This looks great. I love this. Officially have, switched the trend, right? We were in this downtrend. You can see here we are now in this uptrend on the hour chart. Love it. We are distancing ourselves from the top part of the 50-day EMA channel. We're and I like the fact that we tested it right here. We tested it yesterday morning. That means that if we do take off, we probably won't need a retest for a good minute, on the hour. Now, the weekly will probably give us a more long-term, zoomed out. Man, it's running though. We're at 87.90 here. You can see that this is an aggressive MACD indicator, very aggressive. I mean, second candle, way bigger than the first. Also, you see that leading blue indicator MACD line, almost vertical. So, I mean, look, be careful though. This doesn't mean go in and pile in a bunch of 150x. Let us do that on the recorded episode and play around, so you guys see how many people get wrecked doing that. But this is, I want to see this, especially on Liberation Day, right? Like, this is kind of perfect setup here. So I'm liking what I'm seeing, but it is pretty aggressive, meaning that there's going to be a point, in my opinion, that there's going to be some, large positions probably taking profit. I don't know what that level is going to be, because right now it does seem like we're just hyper aggressive to the upside at 87.1. It continually moves up. I'm not really getting too much data here from the VRVP, but it does seem like, it's at least even from support and resistance, a little bit more support, obviously, because we can see it in action here. But these are also, remember, on the VRVP, it's not dollar amounts, it's amount of trades too. So like, if you have a higher number on the support side versus the resistance side, there could be more actual dollar amount volume on the sell side versus the buy side. But on average, you obviously want to see more support and the bar be stronger. So that's what I'm seeing for second half of today, guys. I got to say bullish, in my opinion, right? Even if we do have a correction, which I like I said, eventually we will see that. But damn, this is continually running. Is there another news event? Goodness gracious, 87,300. So I like what I'm seeing for the second half of today, guys. The 4 hour is going to look marvelous as well. You can see like every time it's been weekend here, we bounce back out. I love it too. You know, there was different levels here on the stochastic RSI. You know, we got to overbought on Monday. Looked like it wanted to come out, fake this out down. Now we're up. Oh, we went back up, and now, dude, we could see a very we're at an 84.6, and on the 4 hour, it takes a while to get this number moving, but I wouldn't be surprised here in the next 4 hours. This is at like a 90, 95, maybe around there. We'll see, because this candle is amazing right now. So today's Wednesday. A lot can happen between now and Friday, but from what it looks like, I think this continuation happens for the next couple of days until we get maybe we get some Bitcoin volatility that we've seen the past couple of months. But I truly think we could be entering the forward-looking phase, which would be amazing.
It's week 3. It's week 3 of my 10-week bull run.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying. The first 2 weeks for accumulation. Now it's time to rise, baby.
Yep. And then you can see on the weekly chart, this is zoomed out here. Man, amazing. Keep testing that top part of the 50-day EMA, and we keep succeeding in terms of not breaking down below it. I love it. Does this bullishness, if we get to 90,000 by Friday, let's say we do, right? You know, I truly think we start to get these indicators to give us more confidence that, hey, you know, the weekly chart is going to produce eventually a trend up, right? But we do need to get out of kind of like the sell pressure on the weekly. We do need to pass that 20-point mark, which we're almost there. We're at 19.5. So, you know, getting to like 25, which would put us probably right around here, ending this week or higher, that would be amazing, right? But yeah, so things look really good from that point of view for Bitcoin. Now we're going to the others, which you know, appreciate myself letting me know everything outside of the top 10 and Bitcoin is what the others is showing us here. So you can see I wish this looked a little bit better. You know, I'm not gonna complain too much because it still is a green candle. But I would definitely love this to kind of start to creep back above the low part of the 50-day EMA channel and get a bit more aggressive. Now, obviously, it's going to need a lot of help from these mid caps and micro caps, because that's, yeah, top 20 is strong, obviously, right? But like top 10 is really, really strong. So you're counting everything outside of that. But if this does get a bit more aggressive, when we bounce back into this channel, we start to see an uptrend form here in the next couple 2-3 weeks. That's really bullish, because you're talking about those mid caps. You're talking about the you know, some majors still, you know, like I said, 20 to 100, but you're talking about the mid caps and micros kind of helping accumulatively push this up. So it's definitely I would keep my eye on this, and this could probably be a really good indicator for risk on season, I'll call it, instead of alt season.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So love to see everything with Bitcoin, and I'm kind of liking this. I like I said, I want to see this rise above that lower part of the channel. And the next thing we'll get into are the bubbles. But any questions or anything that you had, maybe, or the audience had, of the price action that we just went over while I get this set up?
No, man, I think it's pretty good. I truly think that there is a few things, though, I think why potentially we're going to be bullish and continue to be bullish. So Jerome Powell is actually speaking. Going to be speaking to, I want to say, Friday, April 4th. He's going to be speaking. So on Friday, 11:25, Jerome Powell is going to speak. At 12 p.m., Governor Michael Barr is going to speak, and then at 12:45, Fed Governor Waller is going to speak. So all three of them are going to be speaking on Friday, and people think they're going to be very dovish. And then I'm reading as well that next week we have core PPI on Thursday and core CPI on Friday. So so core PPI on Friday, core CPI on next Thursday. Next week could be absolutely huge with the Fed minutes actually happening on Tuesday or Wednesday. Fed minutes will be released on Wednesday. So Fed minutes Wednesday, CPI Thursday, core PPI on Friday. Dude, next week could be absolutely insanity. Insanity.
It could be, but also, like it's kind of like we're looking good right now. We're feeling good. If numbers come in kind of
Dude,
bad on Friday, it could damper put a damper on our momentum. But look, forward looking, and they have been
Yeah.
dovish the past couple of meetings. So I think these catalysts could really avalanche that, kind of
Transitory,
what we've been
baby.
saying. Yeah,
He's
exactly.
saying transitory. Last time he said transitory, we ran and ran and ran. I think it's going to continue. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Getting back to the bubbles here, though, you can see starting to look better. You know, the hour looks amazing. The hour, I know that's really like, zoomed in at that micro level, but you got to start somewhere. And I think they're kind of saying, hey, look at Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Look what's happening right now. This is good. So, right. So, because the daily, obviously is getting a little bit better. It was, I think, a little bit worse yesterday, but let's look at some of these that are sticking. This guy right here came back a little bit. Remember the BNB smash?
They got destroyed. Yes.
Yeah, the BNB smash event happened with that. You're starting to see some of these meme coins again.
Yeah.
Say, hey, look, meme coins with communities. Bonk, they're up 4.9%. Trump is up 1.8%. Like, as much as Trump is like that token that launched, it created this cascade of horrible events. I feel like that one was the only solid one that I think that actually will survive continually. You know what I mean? Out of those crappy ones. So that having a rebound, I think, is pretty decent. And then you see Pepe at 1.5, but some of these other like majors, right? Like Litecoin up 1.5%. Fartcoin, that's another meme. Crow back to, Crow back up to 3.2%. Hype is back finally in the green because it had a really tough, week and a half, right? So to see Hype up like this I think it's a good sign for our space. And then of course Doge, you have Sol, and so these top 10, right? Solana 0.6%, ADA 0.4%. These will eventually pick back up once they feel like that conviction again, that okay, Bitcoin this is for real. This is not just a drill. This is actually, going to be sustained for some time here. And I think we'll see the majors in that top 10 kind of pick back up. See Tron up 1.1%. But so I think this chart's going to, or the bubble graphs or the data is going to look much better tomorrow. But let's take a last look here on the week. So the week will look better tomorrow as well. But this is, you got to catch up with, like I said, step by step. The hour looks great. Tomorrow, I think the daily looks better, and the weekly looks a little better.
Would you mind going a little more degen? Go to the 200 to 300 and then go on the hour.
200 to 300. Let me see if I can pull that.
No, right, it's right there. Just click that to your right, to your right, to your yep, and then go to up. There you go.
Okay, so let's go to the hour.
There you go, baby. There we go.
Risk on. Risk on. Risk on.
All right, let's go one more step. Let's go one more level. Let's go 300 to 400.
What coins are we going to see in 300 to 400?
Ordi, potentially.
Okay. Ordi. No, Ordi made it in the 200.
Ordi. Okay. Ordi's the top 200. Let's go. Sats is there. CDX is there. That's
where's here. Yeah. Right. Is Dog in here?
I think Dog should be in here. Dog's down on the day, I think. The big runes haven't moved yet. No, I see Ban. I see SKL.
Do they include the runes in here, right?
Yeah, the runes should be in here. I think Dog should be here. I'd be shocked if it was not. Where are you, Doggy? Where are you, Doggy? I don't see him. Nero, that's the Solana one. Solana.
So I mean, there's the Dogs. AIXBT. Man, this guy's
why is it?
Needed.
Damn, it's on page 4. That's crazy.
Is it?
Well, page 3, I guess you would say.
So, what, AIXBT?
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that it's in between 3 and 4. Let's go. Oh, we're going more degen. Let's go.
Well, because I'm trying to see if there's any. I don't think the bubble charts include the runes.
No, they're definitely in there. You can type Dog up top. You see a search bar? You can type Dog. DOG. There he is.
223 though. So we
might have just missed them. Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually on the second. It's on the second one. So
okay. Where is he? Is he tiny?
Oh, there he is.
There he is. There's
Plus
dog.
two. There he is. Plus 2%. Yeah. I had to search. I was like, they better be including these, right? So, and then
Yeah.
Zeus launched the other day, right? So, Zeus is
Yeah.
already in the top 200. We're actually going to
Yeah.
have someone from their team, I think, for we'll see. We'll see if we can get him on for pre-record. But VVS, wow.
Yeah.
You know VVS?
No, I don't.
It's the crypto.com backed DEX for Kronos.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of TVL.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the advantage. If there is an exchange that backs, like, Pancake Swap's always going to look really healthy, right? So, but anyways,
Cody, you got GMT. GMT is the token from that game where you walk around. I'm surprised it's there.
The Solana one?
The Solana game. Dude, I killed it with that game, bro. I was walking around all the time.
Did you lose weight?
Probably not. I think I was actually in shape then because I was working. Now I don't work, so I don't like move my body. But
we should do the treadmills while we're a lot. No, I'm just kidding. That would be horrible.
That would be an annoying episode.
Yeah.
I'd be like dying the whole time. But yeah.
Yep. So that's it, guys. Price action for Bitcoin and the others, and the bubble data there for y'all.
All right, let's kind of get into that roll call here. And on the show, first is first. So that first comment of the day, that first comment of the show, it means everything. And today, the winner is Lackey Lukey. Shout out to Lackey Lukey. But guys, we are jotting it down. So if you're new to the show, I know we have some new people here today. If you're new to the show, every single day, we take the number one comment. And when I say number one, I mean the first comment, because first is first. And today it's Lackey Lukey. It's your 6th win of the year. We're actually going to be giving away a Bitcoin frog that is valued around $900 as of today. But who knows? December 31st, after our show, that could be worth $2,000-$3,000. Who knows?
All-time high was 17,000. So
ooh, it could. That would be crazy. That would be the biggest giveaway potentially ever. But yeah, man, for sure. And Lackey Lukey, it's your 6th win of the year. You are now tied with ASAP Benji. You guys are rocking, but you guys can catch up to Danny, can catch up to Webdro. Webdro is in first with 13. Danny has 12. You guys are right there. Looking forward to seeing who wins this, but this is anyone's game. Anyone, if you're sitting there like, damn, I have no shot, you have every shot. All you got to do is just be first to the comment. I know Lackey Lukey's been killing it. Yesterday, he actually got reaped, which means YouTube deleted all the comments. I don't know why they do it, but yesterday he was reaped, but I'm glad you won today. Congratulations, you, my friend. Looking forward to the rest of the week, seeing who gets it. But though this week so far has been ASAP, it's been ASAP Benji on Monday. I'm sorry, Malam Yuri on Monday. Lackey Lukey, no, ASAP Benji on Monday, Yuri on Tuesday, and Lackey Lukey on Wednesday. So it's been a good week for you guys. But the big dogs, Danny and Webdro haven't got a win this week. Let's see if they can pull one off on Thursday and Friday. But let's kind of get into the rest of the roll call here. Lackey Lukey said, not today. Danny Boy came in right there. So Lackey Lukey's 213. Danny Boy is 214. They're always 1 minute apart. It is wild. Absolutely wild. Danny says, damn you, Lackey, almost is lost. I need that bot link. Does he have a bot link? What?
Man, that would be wild if someone created a bot link for real for this.
It's $1,000 prize, bro.
Link up with us, because we might need to partner up for some of your dev services.
For sure. Glasshopper is here. Shout out to Glasshopper. Mats is here. PJNZ says Lackey has been some system workout. PJNZ says Webdro. Webdro says cheers, PJNZ. I can't wait for the payouts for the BTC Q1 market. I know. I actually said something to Clueless this morning. I said, yo guys, like, I think I won like a lot of money. So I want my money. and they were like, we'll do it soon. So we're going to get into BTC later, but they're actually going to be doing make your own market. The stuff, guys, they're showing us insane.
Blew our minds away.
Yes, we'll get into it later, but we'll get into that. I did talk to Clueless and Good this morning, and they're going to get that going. But eventually down the line, it's going to be a lot simpler. We'll explain what we mean. So Malam Yuri says, Lackey, man, I messaged the Reaper, sir. And he's busy today. Yes, it seems to be busy. Nighthawk says, GM, my amigos. What's up, Nighthawk? Things better days ahead of us. Just please don't ask our guy Danny Boy about a steady Teddy. Dang.
Uh-oh.
I gotta ask you about your steady Teddy now, man. Let us know what
Yeah.
is going on with that.
And Nighthawk, hopefully you're okay because we know you had an accident yesterday. So hopefully everything's good.
Yeah, man. Hope everything was an easy fix for you and just maybe a little fender bender. Cheaty says, "What's up, guys?" Cheaty says, "Lackey Lukey, once my holiday kicks in, I'm coming for your spot." Shout
Uh-oh.
out to Cheaty. Says, "I'm coming for it." Cheaty has not made number one yet this year, so we'll
Yeah.
see if he can eventually get in there. Would be really cool to see. Danny Boy says, "Did you buy a steady Teddy?" No, I wanted one. I really did, and I'm actually looking at them on the floor. We'll get it. I actually have them. We're gonna talk about them in a few minutes. Steamy J's, GSGM, Lackey Lukey, Patty Pooh, the Bitcoin machine himself. He says, "Happy Liberation Day. Would be a dream come true." He says to become. I guess he's talking about the 51st state. I love Patty Pooh, man. Chief Axel is here. Super fan with a GM. Superfan actually had maybe we'll get into that a little later. You actually had a tweet. I'll read that live about your potential launch and everything. So we'll get into that. No says GM Degens. Danny Boy says Teddy's revealed currently a meme. Reveal in 24 to 48 hours after mint. Teddy's gonna be hot. Don't miss out. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into them for sure. And then we got Patty Poo 92K is the key level to break out back above. Yeah. That'd be really cool to hit that. Did we fall back a little bit? I'm seeing 86 again on my clock.
Yeah, 86.8, which I mean,
Okay.
dude, I'm not shocked. That green candle was absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it was wild. People got to take profit on that. Then our guy Johnny Utah. It's been a while, Johnny. It's been a while, buddy.
The other day.
Yeah. Where are my Bitmap punks at? Shout out to Johnny Utah, man. Appreciate you being here. And then the legend himself. We got Courtney Johnson hit you with a piece. And then are you getting that 90% Bitcoin yield on Stacks?
90%.
Yeah, Stacks is giving. That's what Raul was talking about. Remember? About
is it his
potentially
protocol?
his project. No. But he's taking advantage of that. He's going to give you
BTC for SBTC.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Damn, Courtney ahead of the game, man. I remember like you were hitting us up, asking us to walk you through something like last year, and now you're the one giving us the alpha. I love it.
Yeah, man. Progression. It's all about progression. I think that's what the great poet Jay-Z once said. Loiterers should be arrested. So shout out. Superfan says, "Great news, guys. Big Noodle OG pass hit. It's minimum and flying. It's official. We will be doing a TGE. Always grateful for you guys helping and grow my community." Dude, I wish you popped on the show, man. I wish we can get you on to kind of talk about this. I would love to highlight what you're building, bro. Let us know, or just send over some tweets or something I can read out. I definitely want to support you in any way possible. Danny Boy says, "Lackey Lukey holding us back." Danny Boy says, "Oh shoot, I got two teddies. Both couldn't mint." Danny Boy says, "Okay, done shilling. Sorry, that was a lot." No, it's all good, bro. It's all good, bro. But let's kind of get into some more news here. PayPal expands crypto offerings, adding Sol and Link for U.S. customers. Can PayPal compete with Coinbase?
Ooh. I think that PayPal can take advantage of the market that has already basically entrusted them with their financial services, right?
Yeah.
Hobby markets, e-commerce, they've kind of gone away a little bit. Like you had Stripe come in and other credit card processing companies kind of take their business, but like definitely like hobby collectors and like, you know, those flea market pop-up shops, a lot of them use either PayPal or Venmo. Venmo's owned by PayPal, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that's under their thing. So I do think that they can compete with like Web 2 people that are afraid to cross over because they're like, oh, I know PayPal's safe. You know, I've used them. That's where their angle will probably be and their focus will probably be.
You got to think, right? PayPal has what, probably like 100 million users, right? I'm sure it's probably above that. And you know, now they all have access potentially some altcoins, right? They can just, you know, you already have PayPal account. It's my PayPal account's linked to my bank account. Like I just bought, you know, tickets on Ticketmaster through PayPal, right? I just click PayPal and go, right? It was simple and easy. Imagine doing that with crypto. Imagine just going there and hitting. I mean, they already have all my information. Maybe this is where I should start buying my like my bigger altcoins, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm too degen for that, and I'd rather just do it myself. But it's just
one thing I do want to say
fine.
though is that like PayPal no longer has the stranglehold though once they enter this market though, so they have to be careful because before when they were the only option for eBay actually now offers direct deposit to your if you're a seller, direct deposit to your
Oh
account.
wow.
So that kind of like pissed PayPal
Yeah.
off, but they're like, we don't want to get rid of that business, so they stuck with them still. Coming over to the crypto world, look, there's going to be competitive service providers, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like there has to be, right? And so I think they got to be careful with how much they're charging because they've been able to get away with like charging high transaction fees this entire time.
Yeah. Why wouldn't someone like eBay let you deposit money into your account? Like, why wouldn't they have? I was always wondering that. Why I wasn't able to just deposit money into my account, do my transactions, and withdraw if I need it. Like with crypto, something like eBay could actually benefit from that historically.
So eBay allowed you as a buyer to be able to use your debit card, credit card, stuff like that, or PayPal. You can use either one. I think the problem was when they forced you as a seller to basically take your payouts in PayPal. And so you didn't have any other option really. It was just like, okay, like you have to have a PayPal account if you want to be a seller on eBay. That changed, I want to say about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. But it was a big change that was wanted by sellers. They were like, we want just direct deposit so we can cut some fees out or whatever. And so, but to your point, you didn't have to really deposit as a buyer. But I do agree that like there will be, in my opinion, and I think there's going to be options like you can pay with crypto card because like whatever the payment is handled, like even if you are going to use crypto in the end, you can convert fiat to crypto on behalf of the consumer to try to ease them into Web3. So there's going to be some interesting transitions, in my opinion, from typical businesses from Web2 to Web3, and I think it's going to be like a slow but steady transition.
Yeah. But imagine if you can go there and there's a connect wallet button, and I can connect my Coinbase wallet or my MetaMask, and I'm able to use USDC for a purchase, right? That's what I'm waiting for, and I think that's coming this year. I think all these Web2 companies are going to have a connect wallet button soon, right? Especially, and they're still going to have you do KYC. But imagine that. Imagine being able to use Base Chain on eBay and using USDC to pay for stuff. That would be absolutely amazing. And as a consumer, as someone who's selling stuff, you can potentially choose if you can have USDC, and then boom, USDC just pops in your wallet instantly. Right? Like that would be, and we know that Coinbase, on Coinbase chain, there's no transaction fees for USDC. So you can just send it to your Coinbase account, cash out, and it'll be in your wallet, right? So I mean, oof, I think it's going to get nuts, guys.
Real quick though, in December 2024, PayPal reported having 434 million active users worldwide.
Oh my God.
The opportunity there is huge if they can, and that's why probably they're slow but steady transitioning into Web3 because in their mind they're like, we got 436 users, a million users,
users.
So they'll lose them though, as if they don't transition.
But now you're giving access to 400 million people to Sol and Link right now.
Yep,
this is massive. This is absolutely massive. All right, let's get into some crazy news. All right, let me explain this to you first, and I would love to get your opinion. A hacker stole 2,930 ETH from ZK Lend. It was some type of bug that he was able to use to kind of get him a whole bunch of ETH. But then he accidentally visited a phishing site. I guess he was rushing to Tornado Cash, losing the entire 2,930 Bitcoin. I'm sorry, 30 Ethereum that was in his wallet to another thief, the phishing site thief. So he ran to Tornado Cash, put in the wrong site, whether it was, whatever he used, and then he connected his wallet, and then his wallet got drained. Is that not karma? Like, I don't know what is if it's not, but how crazy is that?
I think it's really crazy, and it's not only is it karma, but like he could also, if they catch him, he's also in trouble because he's the one initiated this, like, stealing it, and now the other guy is like you know, he's obviously going to be the main focus of trying to retrieve this $5.4 million or whoever they are, right? But it is funny. I think it's funny. It's kind of like someone trying to steal an ATM and then drops the ATM on their foot and it breaks, and then like, you know, they get arrested or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't technically his money, right? So it can't be, but that has to suck. That's $5.4 million that he probably planned. He probably was like so hype, and then he just ran to the wrong fishing site. But again, imagine being the Tornado Cash fishing site, and you're just like, oh crap! Now we're now we're under the microscope. We didn't want this, right? We
not
don't want
this
the
much.
ZK lens, so not
Yeah.
this much. This is so what we'll see if anything else comes from that. But pretty crazy story. Here's another one. Ethereum actually surpasses Solana to reclaim the top spot in DEX trading for the first time since September. Absolutely insane, because we thought Solana was running home with it. Guys, this is so bullish for an alt season. This is what we need. We need Ethereum to take back that hold on everyone else, right? The only thing I don't like is the fact that we're calling Arbitrum and Base and these other ones that are Ethereum L2s. This should all kind of be wrapped up into Ethereum, because technically they all do finish on Ethereum, right? This is like the problem I had with the Bitcoin L2s, right? Being wrapped up in Bitcoin. Either you're going to do it or you don't do it. But obviously you have Arbitrum, Avalanche. Well, I don't think Avalanche is an L1, but they're actually rolling up on Ethereum. So Ethereum's probably a lot higher if you want to include those. But still, we need Ethereum base chain to be back over $100 billion in volume. So this is from March 1st to March 31st. Ethereum did $64 billion in volume. Solana did 52. BSC did 44. But this is good to see. This is good to see.
That's a lot for BSC too, though.
Yeah,
they're catching up a little bit. Yeah, I was looking at the 24-hour, which is, like, it's one thing once they finish the month higher, but I even look at the 24-hour, which we're in April, and Ethereum's at 1.6 billion, and Solana's at like 1.5. That's really close, but at least they're still like continuing it. So
100%. All right, moving along here, Trons. Justin Sun bailed out TUSD after 456 million in reserves got stuck in limbo. I did some research into this. So 460 million of reserves backed by the TUSD stablecoin were supposed to be managed safely. Instead, they were moved to an unauthorized entity. That entity being Aria Commodities DMCC, based in Dubai, causing the reserves to become illiquid or essentially stuck in limbo. This jeopardized TUSD's ability to maintain the dollar peg and process to redemptions. Justin Sun, known for his role in Tron, stepped in and bailed out TUSD, offering emergency liquidity, basically a loan, to keep it afloat. What do you think about this? What do you think about TUSD kind of get in trouble here? This is why we need stablecoin regulation, because this type of stuff shouldn't happen.
Yeah, especially if they want to do business over here in this region, right? Yeah, I think they got to learn from this, and once you get into like a hard situation, it's always like a learning opportunity, obviously, right? But thank God they had him to do this, because if not, like it's not saying it's lost, it's just stuck in limbo, right? So what does that mean? That means that you're gonna have a lot of people that maybe are expecting to receive whatever, complain on the timeline or whatever, right?
Well, what happens was, when you do this type of thing, this company, it takes 3 to 5 days for a lot of the banking stuff to kind of push through, right? It's not instant like we're used to with crypto. So if you wanted to cash out TUSD back into cash, you couldn't do that. There was nothing there for you to do, right? So that's the problem. If you went from TUSD to the US dollar, you weren't able to do that today until Justin Sun popped in, which caused the peg. People were just selling it like crazy.
Yeah, and so what this does is it kind of makes the story not as big as it might have been if he didn't come in and save the day. It's still a big story.
It probably would have went down to 50 cents, 40 cents. People would have been dumping it. I mean, they weren't able to get out, right? But then you probably would have had people come in and do the arbitrage, but like, oh wow, I'll just buy this and wait. right? Because I know it's
Yeah.
coming back. So you might have had an arbitrage opportunity at like 80 cents or 60 cents or something, but you don't want that if you're Justin Sun. You don't want that if you're Tron, right? You want your stable coin to always be pegged 1-to-1. But yeah, Justin Sun, I mean, we know he's big dog, right? He's a multi billionaire. Who knows exactly how much he actually has? He probably has a lot of his money in like a Bitcoin wallet somewhere that no one knows about. Justin Sun is legendary, especially in the East. So.
Yeah.
All right. So today is Wednesday, and every Wednesday we like to get into our partner here. This is BetBTC. They have some really amazing updates that are coming, but their main update right now is live, and it's the Blitz markets. We want to kind of show you guys what is going on with Blitz markets. I know some of you guys are waiting for your funds to get in because you made that gizmo bet that I told you to do, and hopefully you did that, and we all got paid, but I got 5 hours here. I'm waiting for my like $250 to be kind of given to me from that bet. Cause I went hard into that bet, a little too hard there. But let's play with the markets here. So on here you have Bitcoin, you have BNB, you have Solana, right? So I'm gonna take a Solana along here for the next 10 minutes.
How much
So
time you got?
in
How much time you got? Oh, 4 minutes.
4
This is
minutes
perfect.
and 15 seconds. So this is absolutely perfect. So, in 4 minutes, this is going to close. So whatever this price is here, that's what I'm betting up or down. I think it's going to be higher or lower than the price here. So it's smart to kind of wait for that last minute, right? So you can kind of lock in that price that you want. You can, if you're busy, you can just put it in and go. But so what I'm going to do here is I think it's going to be higher than that 131 that's showing in the next 10 minutes. So I'm going to go up. And then I'll take $4 and I'm going to slide it to the right. And then in a few seconds, my transaction is going to pop up at the bottom. Boom, done. And now as long, and you see that my balance has changed. Now, as long as the price is higher than that 131 that I locked in, I am going to make money. So I locked in price at 131.01. Oh no, that's from the previous one. So I locked it in probably like 13135. So we will say, and if it's higher than that, I win. If it's a lower than that, I lose. So definitely check this out, guys. And it definitely could get you on the leaderboard.
Yep.
Oh God, do you want...
And for people that are looking at the screen right now, pay attention to the timer there on the square that he placed the bet on. It's 3 minutes. So after that timer goes to 0, that's the price that will be locked in that Shizzy thinks is going to be higher. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you got an additional 10 minutes, and that countdown will determine if you're right or wrong. So hopefully you guys understand how that works, because it's pretty straightforward, right? But like you do need to pay attention to that timer, because in the block that you are making the prediction up or down, it's only going to be based off of the price that is at when it goes to 000. Then you have the additional 10 minutes to determine if you won or lost. So really fun stuff. It's kind of that dopamine hit of a quick action, and they're planning actually to make it shorter even.
Yeah. 30 seconds.
5 minutes and 1 minute. Yeah.
I want to see a 1 second one, bro. Let's do it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you can't do that.
That would be insane. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, but by doing this though, right, I'm actually getting on a leaderboard. Why is it important to do a leaderboard? Because they're going to do, Webdro, he took PJNZ's spot.
They keep flipping.
Is the most competitive guy I ever met. Dude, little brother leaving me in the dust right now, bro. 34, they're leaving me in the dust. Webdro is absolutely killing it. Shout out to Webdro. He put $677 in. He's up $148 in profit. PJNC put $700 in. He's up $257 in profit. I put in and I guess it's my value. This is their volume. Never mind. But I'm up $266, so I'm very happy. I'm beating both of you guys in profits, so come at me. Let's go. But then Tim Bake with his $700 in volume with a $519 in profit. Tim Bake he's crushing there, it. Man. He's right there. He's crushing it. And then you got some losses. You got Ethereum Dad down $7. Good is down $64. That's one of the founders. Our guy at Yasher, who we haven't seen in a while. I hope you're okay, buddy, is up $18. So shout out to you guys, man. And guys, every single person. So right now, Webdro with the highest airdrop. all you got to do is get on this list and you'll get a part of this airdrop. So 391 people so far are eligible for this airdrop. This airdrop will happen at their TGE. Guys, you want to be a part of this. All you have to do is connect your Xverse wallet to betbtc.win. It's all you have to do, and you're in. You will get an airdrop. It depends on how big you want the airdrop to be. You guys can go and you can deposit some Bitcoin into here, and it'll show up here, and you can see up here that's the Bitcoin amount, and that is the USD amount, right? So it shows up as Bitcoin. And how to do that is really simple. You go to account, you go to wallet, and you go to deposit, right? So you'll just remember there is a deposit fee of 5 zeros and a 1. So you guys can do that, or if you can deposit this way, or you can just send this wallet address that Bitcoin as well. That works. So think of it the same way that Odin.fund works. This is the exact same one. The exact same thing as Odin.fund. So you're just depositing in, you're withdrawing out. I've deposited in a lot of money. I've withdrawn a lot of money. I've never had an issue with that. So if you're interested in playing, I highly recommend you guys get on. I want every single person who watches the show to get on the leaderboard, whether it's just connecting your Xverse wallet or whatever. I want you on that leaderboard. I want you to get some free money. I think this token's going to be really big. We do know they're talking to some potential investors. So we all know what happens when investors get involved. The price number is forced up because those investors want huge returns, guys. This is definitely a coin if you can get for free, maybe worth holding.
Yep, I agree with all that. And also, like what we mentioned earlier, man, we were just really blown away by what we were able to really kind of, check out earlier. I'll just say, possibility of opportunities for the community of this in terms of, creating your own path to success. And so, we'll get into it more as they, get ready to do more announcements, but we're not going to step on anybody's toes for that. So we'll let them handle that. But I would say just be excited about this team, man. The one thing I will say is that they impress us every time. Sometimes, when teams build, they go a little bit quiet. And it makes sometimes you're kind of like, oh, what are they doing? And then like with them, every time that they bring us an update, we're just like, wow, like this is crazy. So everything is, I believe, really playing into this kind of Q4 possibly, or maybe, that's what I'm thinking, to where some of these, other tokens and new startup projects and stuff, and pay attention to the ones that continually build because they're not running out of runway. That's the most, in my opinion, that's so huge coming out of like this big speculative kind of bubble of meme coins and projects. And some people stopped building because they ran out of capital. I'm not saying they mismanaged, but maybe they did, So, teams that are continually building through the hardest times, those are teams that are made for success.
Yeah, 100%. And the best part about them is the stuff they're going to let you do as a participant. Like, so they have, there's going to be stuff where you guys can bet with your friends coming. There's guys where you can make your own markets. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. But the features that are coming are going to let you control and potentially earn just by creating a market. Right, just by playing with your friends, right? You can be like, you can set up. It was cool this morning. I actually set up one of my own markets. I was testing on the testnet, and I sent it to Yagobi, I sent it to Clueless, and we were just kind of like betting. It was fun. It was exciting. It was different. And that's what's going to separate a lot of these companies. I'm tired of the same old bullshit. I'm tired of the same old way of doing things. I want new things. I want new things. I want new ideas, and that's what these guys are bringing to the table. Definitely check out betbtc.win and play with their blitz market. Just get on the leaderboard. Just get on the leaderboard. If you come at me, in 3 months or whenever they're TGE and you're like, yo, man, how can I get on this? I'm going to smack you. And I'm going to be like, listen, you had every opportunity to get free money. And now I got $1,000 airdrop that I'm giving away, or $2,000 airdrop. Who knows? It could be $10,000 airdrop. Just get on this goddamn leaderboard before I have to come find you. But I'm not telling you to deposit money. I'm just telling you to just connect your Xverse. Done. So
yeah.
All right. Do got some comments here. I'm kind of getting the comments before we get into the next thing. Patty Boo says new Sol meta revs prints you Sol every 5 minutes paid. I don't know what you're trying to show there, buddy. But yeah, PJ Anzi says no. Yeah, WebJoe took your spot, buddy. Pulse chain at Altcoin Talk says, I heard you say, but anything but Pulse chain, you're not bullish. I like the yields burn. Yeah, it's okay. It's not that I came at Pulse chain. It's just that there's some thing going on over there, right, that I haven't really had time to dig deep in. And that's probably my fault. I should probably dig into Pulse Chain a little bit more. He says burn 20K of PZen, mint it on Pulse Chain for Jack 11. Well, yeah, if they have PZen over there, which is Pulse Zen, and you're able to burn that for the airdrop as well. But yeah, I don't know. No, I don't. I just don't know enough about Pulse Chain, buddy. But I'm glad you're listening. Thank you. Patty boosted 797 soul paid out in first week. What the hell are you talking about, man?
He's talking about the rev sharing project on Solana. I'm gonna look into that. But he did say Ponzonomic technology. So are we at that season yet? I don't think we are. Not yet.
Yeah. He said the Pulse community is listening. We like Bitcoin. Hell yeah, man. Thank you so much, Pulse Chain at All Talk. Yeah, I would love to have a conversation with you, kind of learn more about Pulse Chain. I've been in Pulse Chain for a while. I do have some Pulse over there. I do have some PLSX. I do have a little bit over there that's just kind of sitting there. But I'm down bad, bro. My backs are down bad over there. So I'm just too afraid.
It seems like there hasn't been stability over there, and so that's why it's kind of scary.
Well,
you know?
RH is gone. Richard Hart's missing in action. He has like a red notice on him or something. I don't know. We got to dig more. I'll dig more into that though, and be more aware of what's going on for sure, especially in Pulse Chain. But got a few more things to take care of real quickly. All right, so I want to get into some Tau subnets. If you are down, my friend.
Yeah. I can pull up the chart here. Yep. Let me pull it up. I just want to make sure that I have the right one. Okay, perfect.
So Tau subnets, kind of talk about this. So about Tau's been around for a couple years. It's around $200 right now, and it is it's one of the tokens I think that's going to have the biggest run. I think Tau will one day be number 2 behind Bitcoin because of the decentralization aspect, because of the AI. So there's these things now called D-Tau or dynamic Tau, and these are actually they're different than anything we've ever seen. So it's basically just staked Tau, but you're getting a representation of an alpha token, right? And so that alpha token, which is just in reality, it's just Tau, but represents a subnet that has its own price value. So by depositing your Tau into these subnets, you're getting the alpha token on the other side, and that alpha token is actually doing really well. A lot of these alpha tokens are doing really well. After about 3 months or about 30, 40 days of down, they are ripping, and they are ripping very fast.
Yeah, it was something that I didn't expect to happen at this point. But remember, so once D-Tau came out in February, they said 3 to 6 months would be the time period that you would see the alpha tokens really start to, have energy and move. And we're talking, let's say that D-Tau launched in the middle of February. Then we're talking about like almost like a month and a half, I think. Yeah. So it's early, which is a great sign in my opinion. But let me give you an example of what we're talking about, because so this alpha token or this subnet called Shoots, the market cap, started off pretty high, right? Because like all these alpha tokens and subnets, the market caps actually, once D-Tau launched, they started high because everybody was like hype about it, and it crashed really hard, like because people were just taking their Tau and putting it in root, which is the first subnet 0, which is actually represents Tau. So it's like a synthetic Tau, I guess you could say, 1-to-1. You just put it in there, so it's safe. Yeah, think of it as safe. Tau. It won't bring your Tau down. So like all you could do is just make from the emissions from there. So a lot of people were happy, especially the big whales, because they were just making more Tau. And once the emission percentage, the yield started going down, they said, okay, what is some other opportunities? And this was about a week ago. And they started taking their Tau out of root and putting it into these alpha tokens. And that's whenever you started to see the leaders really start to take off. So, Shoots and Targan have been the top 2 pretty much for the entire time, and they were really ranging between like 10 and 17 million once they kind of bottomed, right? And then you start to see like Shoots take off and Targan take off. Now you see Shoots at like 40 million. So it's really, in every day it has been increasing since last week. So this is, to me, this is a sign of the first kind of the little bit of phase of these alpha tokens starting to really have energy. So, Shoots, Targan, proprietary network, a trading network, these have been like the top three, and they all have kind of moved up together with, every once in a while, like one will pull back a little bit here or there. That's just kind of people taking profit and maybe putting into another alpha token. But for me, I started to look and say, I got into some of the safer ones with some of the riskier ones. Like Bitmine is a popular one that their whole agenda is to be able to create like a framework to be able to detect AI, so you can detect deep fakes and stuff. But then I said, okay, what's opportunity stuff, right? So I went to like the $1 million market cap stuff, or even a little bit below, right? So stuff like was it Open Cato? So everybody knows this brand, right? I actually am not in this anymore, but like I was in this for a while, right? So Open Cato is basically the Cato Yaps, right? And so they're doing something with social. So they're branded. So people kind of, been getting a little bit into this. Another one that I'm actually bullish on is Sports Tensor. And it's because what they're doing is they're actually creating their own AI framework for sports betting data, to where like they have their own kind of mining this data out. So like if you want to be a participant, you actually have to spend some to get the AI compute out. But then you can have a platform like Billy Bets, which launched on Virtuals and Solana. So that's just an example that one of the platforms that utilize Sports Tensor's framework, or their AI compute. Other platforms are going to be doing that as well. Ready AI is another one that's been kind of hot, right? Like 1.78. And I think they're all about scalability for other AI platforms, helping them scale at a faster rate. So, the one thing I will say is, make sure you are doing research before you get into this, because it might seem like all of them are safe, but that's not the case. There are some unknown ones that people just, because the advantage for like the creator of the subnet is they can kind of just take the alpha tokens and use that as like runway for their project or whatever they want to, because they are the ones that are getting a lot of these alpha tokens emissions too. So you got to do your research. I don't know. I talked a lot about it just now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, to your point though, so for the subnet controller, or the people who control the subnet, right? So it benefits them to hold those tokens, because the higher the market cap on these subnets, the more emissions they're getting. So every block, which is about 30 seconds, one tau comes online, right? That's actually going to get halved in December. I think it's the first or second week of December they have a halving, depending on the block that it hits. But so what's going to happen with that is, instead of one tau coming in, every 30 seconds, it's going to be 0.5 tau. Right, so this is the first halving of tau, and it's going to be legendary, because these alpha tokens are now going to come in effect, and they're going to be fighting for this now. Which I think a lot of these alpha tokens, you have to remember though, is they're very small in the sense of the amount of tokens that are still coming into circulation for them, right? So every tau token is 21 million. So every subnet is 21 million. If you look, some of them are 400 or 500, right? So, or like 4,000 or 5,000, or I mean, there's some that are just babies, right? Like 80, 81, 82. So be very careful in the price you're getting these, but just remember too that a lot of these have already ran. And BitTensor's Tau is actually taking a hit down to $200, which is like kind of doing what Ordinals does a little bit, right? When Bitcoin drops, Ordinals kind of go up against Bitcoin, but when Bitcoin runs, Ordinals actually drop against Bitcoin. Yes, some of the Ordinals actually do a really good job of holding their USD value, but they're losing against Bitcoin, right? And I think that's one thing that's going to happen here. So I'm very bullish on these subnet tokens, but I'm not buying right now. I do have a huge bag, but like I do have some BitTensor Tau just sitting in a wallet, and I'm thinking every single day, should I buy more? Should I buy more? And I'm just like, no, stop. Not yet, because I know when BitTensor gets back to 400, 500, 600, 700, I'm going to be able to get a lot of these subnets. Maybe not Shoots, maybe not Targan, but I feel like I'm going to be able to get a lot of these subnets a lot cheaper than I can get them today. But that's just my personal opinion. But it's definitely good to see this burst of momentum, but you have to remember Tau is down. So I just want everyone to be careful and don't rush into these, but definitely get over there and definitely start learning how these work, because it's different than anything you've ever dealt with before.
Can you explain a little bit of how like the subnets, the alpha tokens, and Tau itself can have or will have like this beneficial relationship in terms of value? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So yeah, it's basically just like works how ordinals work for Bitcoin, right? So every ordinal is technically a Satoshi, right? It's a every or so they think of a detail token. It's BitTensor. So a detail token is Tensor. Every single detail token is technically staked Tau, right? So if that staked Tau is if Tau is going up, that it has to go up with it, because it's just kind of forced price, right? But you might see a lot of people see that happening, because like, all right, so BitTensor going up, Tau going up, it's going to force the entire market to go up, right? So every token is going to go up in market cap, but you're going to see people kind of being like, okay, value wise, I'm making money. Tau wise, I'm losing money. I'm losing
Yeah.
money because Tau's going up, but my subnet tokens are actually going down, right?
Yeah.
Because of the same way ordinals work with Bitcoin. Think of this, think of how it works the same way. When Bitcoin runs, ordinals drop against
Well,
Bitcoin
I think there's
to
a little
contain
bit
their
of a
value.
difference in it to where, like, for example, let's say like the alpha token market gets extremely hyped, like the entire
Yeah.
crypto
Yeah.
market is like, I want in now, I want in, I want in. They're gonna have to buy Tau and they're gonna have to stake that Tau, which will
Yeah.
make the alpha tokens market cap go up, but also
Yep.
will make Tau's market cap go up. So in an extremely bullish environment,
Yeah.
that's where they both can actually thrive, dollar value wise. Dollar
Yes.
value wise.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, I'm glad you added that in there, because if you're holding something like, for instance, like Chutes, like you're running, but if Tau is running 30% in one day, you're gonna see people sell out of Chutes to get back in the Tau, because Chutes against Tau is actually dropping because Tau is moving so quickly. But then you're gonna see a lot of that money get risky again when Tau's back up and kind of go back. Dude, as I swear, having experience in ordinals is going to help you so much in Tau, because we've already played this game. We know how it works, right? We know Bitcoin's running, go in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's dropping, go in detail. And if you can play this, I'm not saying become a trader. If you're going to be an investor, invest in, I think detail tokens are going to be really good. But the best part about detail tokens is your balance goes up every day, because it's technically staked Tau. So every single minute, you're actually getting a little tiny bit more of these tokens. So yeah, the dilution is terrible. The dilution is like, it's going to be insane. But at the same time, you're actually going to be earning some of that dilution every single time. So just having it in there is basically stake. It's everything I love about crypto. It's
Yeah.
staking. It's you know what I mean? It's perfect. It's actually the
Yeah.
perfect design product I've seen in a long time.
Well, and plus, if you create like, if this catches like an extremely bullish overall like risk on environment,
Like a
like,
virtuals type area. Yeah.
well, that as well as just the overall crypto. Like, let's say if we have like a 2-3 month period of like, the alt market just goes crazy, like people are going to definitely be in here as well, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
my point that I'm making is like what you said about circulating supply, is like, for example, something like, where is it? Circulating supply of sports tensor. It's a $1.51 million market cap, but the circulating supply is 592,000, right? Let's
Yeah.
say Tal is like bursted up to like 7K or 5K or something like that. Because the circulating supply of these tokens, the max supply is all 21 million, like you said, but circulating supply could be, a 1.5 million. But if the demand for one of these, let's say shoots, is like absolutely nuts, that could get to a couple thousand easy.
Well, you got to remember, Shoots is getting 13% of every Tau coming in, so there's more Shoots tokens every single day,
Yeah, but
right? So
it won't. I think it will take a lot to catch up to the actual Tau circulating supply, though. You
it
know what I
depends
mean?
how much of that emission you're getting. I mean, so every Tau that comes in the market, Shoots gets 13% of it, right? So that's going to add up over time. So if your token has the highest amount of emissions, it's really good because you're number one and you're actually getting more of that Tau coming in, which is going to raise your market cap. But at the same time, somebody with 1,000 shoots now has 1,200 shoots, and he's like, you know what? I'll just sell my reward. People think of it as a reward, and then one potentially could sell that extra free money that they've got. So that's the kind of the only problem that I see is 20. You got to remember, 20 million Shoots tokens are still coming into the market, right? It's coming, right? They're no matter what they're
over time.
Over time. So that's you have to take that in effect. So there's so many variables with
Yeah,
this. There's
but
so many variables.
just like ICP in the very beginning, right? Because like an ICP's price started so high because the demand for it versus the circulating supply, and that's where people got trapped in ICP. You know, like it was at, what was it at, like $700, 500? I don't remember how high it was, but
ICP was manipulated by FTX.
But it's still a supply and demand
can't compare
thing.
that to ICP.
I know, but it's still a formula though, right? Like it's still. I agree with what you're saying. They manipulated it by buying more than probably what
they bought the entire market.
Okay, so let's say that it gets like 10% of something like that is my point. So people that was why people got trapped in ICP though, is because of whether it was FTX or some other huge whales. We know it was FTX, right? So they bought the supply and demand created this price at $700, but people weren't thinking about max supply. They weren't thinking about FDV. That the retail investors that bought in at 500, that bought in at 400. And so when they saw it go back to $5, they're like, what the hell? You know what I mean? But like, you got to think about that because like the demand, you got to take advantage of the demand when the market's hot, especially with like how many coins are in circulation. Am I right with that, or what? Do you think I'm off on that? Like in terms of circulation?
It's just different. Something like TAL's never existed before. So it's just like, because the fact when you're holding these tokens, you're earning every day. It's not, you know what I mean? So it's different than ICP in that sense. But I get what you're saying.
Mathematical formula. Like with circulating supply, is there a mathematical formula with circulating supply and demand of how much is being bought up? That's what creates the current live market cap, correct? Or am I off on that?
You are right, but it's not comparable to TAL because the higher the market cap, the more emissions you're getting. The more emissions you're getting every single day. So there's more and more.
I know stuff is coming out. I'm just talking about on any token level. I'm just curious. Like that's how that formula works, though, right? With circulating supply. Not take TAL out of your head. Like I'm just talking about any token.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like 100%. But like you have to remember these tokens are not going to get listed on exchanges. It's not possible. Right. So again, you have to throw that into the equation as well. So it's really hard. You can't compare these to anything. We've never seen anything like this before. This is extraordinarily different in ways that are just mind blowing. And so ways I have spent hours and hours and hours, and I still feel like I've only grasped 10% of it. Right. So it's just like there's so many different opportunities and can kind of be manipulated. And there's really smart people. You got to think this is Bitcoin in 2013. This is Bitcoin in 2012, where it's only the nerds and a few speculative people like us. Right. I'm not consider myself a nerd, but a few speculative people. It's just uncomparable. And it's just there's no historic data to kind of help you with this either. Right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm looking at like the circulating supply plus what the demand looks like plus the emissions that is the percentage at what it's at right now. And I think that's okay to use for now until that breaks, in my opinion. And if it like goes off from that, because that is what seems to be what's driving the price up right now, is the demand of people moving their TAL from root into the safe ones right now, like Shoots and Target. But the riskier ones, I think, is definitely kind of dangerous.
Just be careful when you see BitTensor back at 270, 280, 290. When it's going on those runners, that might be, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
We haven't seen it.
There's no data. There's nothing I can help with this, but I'm going to be tracking it and understanding it and paying attention to it to make sure that, next time this happens, that I'm there and I know what's going to happen next and I can kind of predict it. Right. Because I don't know. It's one of those things
it's an underrated ecosystem because, but I understand why it is though. It's because it's not easy just to look at and be like, oh, I get this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like people have to really put effort into trying to understand it.
100%. All right, a few more things here. Steady Teddies. So this is our boy Danny Boy. I put this in the news
Did you
for
get one
you,
of those?
Danny. No, I didn't. I might though. So I'm looking here. Can you tell me how much a Barra is while I load this up? How
Yeah.
much is one Barra token? So this is the Steady Teddies. They haven't revealed yet. So this is I've never seen anything like this either. To where the images here. This is just the like pre-reveal. So right now they're going for 102 Barra tokens, but I have no idea how much a Barra token is. So I'm having a hard time judging. I think a Barra token is like $2.
Let me see. Did it? I think it dropped lower than that, didn't it? But
Yep.
the bearish NFTs are at a floor of $372.
Okay. What about Steady Teddies though? What the
Um,
Barra token? I'm sorry.
the bear token. Oh shoot, it's actually a lot higher than I thought. $7.31.
Okay. So we're talking about almost $800, $750 for a Steady Teddy. Would you pay $700 for one of these? These would have been so hyped, so hyped. There's 8,888 that will ever exist. 617 are listed. Let's see, kind of see the activity. 111 Barra. Let's kind of go back down. So these were selling for like 140, 90. Some rare ones were getting sold. So yeah, very consistently between 100, 110. There's 150 here for a listing. So I wish I can take that off. You can take off I just want to see the buys, not the listings. So maybe I can. Yeah, I can right here. So just the sales.
I think in a completely favorable environment of like the entire crypto space, like if we get 2-3 months of that and there's an NFT bull run within that, I think these do extremely well just because it's the main collection for Barachain and there's a lot of NFT enthusiasts that like are a part of that community. But I could be wrong on it, right? Because they've hyped it up a lot. I don't know if I like it though, like the collection itself.
Well, these are pre-reveal. We don't know what actually they look like.
Oh,
these are not revealed yet.
So they're gonna change. Those are like are the cover images.
Isn't that weird? Like I've
Yeah.
never seen anything like this. Like the covers.
I kind of like
this,
it
right?
though.
Yeah, they're freaking weird, man. You couldn't do this with Ordinal. I think it'd be just too expensive.
Probably.
Because the Ordinals are just recursion, right? And then they reveal it after the recursion.
But you still gotta inscribe them all, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Pikachu. No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, man. Steady Teddies. Shout out to Steady Teddies. Yeah, I mean, they're hyped. All right, the next thing here I want to get into is Unisat. So I feel bad when I think of Unisat. I feel bad for them. I just feel sad. I feel like they failed. I think Fractal was complete and utter failure. I think BRC20s is being taken from them by Best in Slot. I just feel like they had the world by the balls, and they weren't willing to hire and really kind of push it. I think they lost. I feel like they lost the entire Bitcoin market. Like I feel like I don't know if they're gonna come back, but they just put out these things, which is more of these awards, I guess you would say, because they're being awarded to people. I don't know. Do you not feel that way? You don't feel bad for Unisat and feel like they failed?
I mean, I wouldn't say that they failed because they made a lot of money and then they got investment as well. But I do think that in terms of like continuing what they started, yeah, like that aspect, yes. In terms of a like bottom line, I'm pretty sure they still, are very much in the green with their bottom line. But yes, innovator wise, I agree with you in that. They still have community and like with blocking them.
I mean, it's like two guys. I mean, seriously,
blocking
like
them.
blocking the other guy. Like I don't, what I mean? Like obviously they still have community, but the Chinese don't use their platform. The East doesn't buy BRC20s on there. They buy them on OKX.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it in the volume. You can see it in the volume, right? And then the West isn't buying runes from there. They're using Magic Eden, or other platforms on Solana and stuff like that. So people aren't buying NFTs from there or ordinals. They're buying them from Magic Eden. I'm sure they made a lot of money and they have runway.
You know what?
And I think Fractal was a complete disaster, and I don't think it'll ever really be anything.
Well, I like the one thing I've seen fractals like most use case from is kind of like testing on
Testnet.
like you use it to test if you want to build something really cool on Bitcoin, you can use
Yeah.
testnet or Signet. But like Fractal is pretty cool in that sense as a builder because it's live and you're spending pennies or whatever to test things out. So in that aspect, I would probably try to push that because like if there is like a bull market and there's some users that come back like those builders that have been testing on there, they could easily just have the fractal version ready. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but it doesn't really seem like a lot of people are even really building on Bitcoin Layer 1 anymore either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm having a hard time finding new projects that are launching on Layer 1. Everything else seems to be, even we're
Oh,
talking to ICP on like with Odin and BetBTC, and then you have things like Artura that's launching on Hemi, and you have Fluid, who is building staking mechanism. Well, using Bitcoin staking technology for that, but we know they're also building on Stacks and building and potentially on Arch, right? You're gonna see a lot of teams building on Arch. So if you're building on Arch and stuff like that, then you're technically not building on, you're building on Layer 1, but you're not really using Bitcoin capabilities fully. So, why would you use anything like Fractal?
well, I mean, like Beat Blocks, for example, they're building on Layer 1, so they actually used Fractal like exactly for that purpose.
Yeah.
Other than them, like I don't know any recent ones. Ord OS or whatever, they use Fractal as like a test net,
Yeah.
or like when we had them on. And so I think in that aspect it is good for developers to use Fractal because you can kind of see what happens. But yeah, the Bitcoin Layer 1 building stuff, I don't think you can only think about Layer 1 anymore as a builder, because like unless you have a straightforward like service
Yeah.
or like with the staking with Fluid or the lending with Liquidium, you're always going to have to think of like the scaling side of it, or like how to make your product faster. And that's why people are using Arch and using ICP and stuff like that. So I don't know. They are still here though, right? And so maybe they're just waiting to release the big guns. But I agree, like Best in Slot has kind of just captured that
Wow.
development part on BRC20.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if they're going to be working with OKX, honestly, in the future. Best in Slot, trying to do
Yeah.
something to where like they can provide like their experience and integrated with OKX's wallet and stuff like that. Just because I feel like there's a connection there that's like not like public facing with
Yeah.
OKX and Best in Slot. You know what I mean? There just has to be, because they've been holding on to BRC 2.0 for too long. And the only reason to do that is probably because OKX doesn't want to give up their fee money.
Yeah. Well, they're not really getting no fee money.
Are they?
Isn't
Did they
free?
not switch it?
No, I don't think so.
But
anyway,
I don't get it. Go ahead.
so this is a tweet by businessman.eth. He basically said Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem, and it's really cool to kind of see. I wish I can zoom this in. Can you see it? Here, I should bring it up like this.
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
I saw this earlier.
Yeah, so you have the staking, you have Zeiss. A lot of this stuff is just layer 2. The only real projects that are actually building on Bitcoin layer 1, X versus, right, and then you have Fluid and Liquidium, but a lot of these now, a lot of them are pivoting to layer 2s, right?
This is a pretty
So
bad ecosystem graphic.
yeah,
Don't you
I know
think?
it, but I don't know. I don't think it's terrible, but trust minimize bridge. You don't see our boys on there over at Rune's Mine. So, and they're like the biggest bridge to
That's
Solana.
what I mean. It's
So
like they just
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? This is like very minimal, but I guess you can
yeah,
put as many as you want on here,
yeah.
and
Seriously.
where would it stop, I guess?
And you don't see dot swap on here, and they're like the biggest DEX by volume on Bitcoin layer 1. So yeah, you're right. It's not good. But again, there's just like dot swap's building on layer 1, and then potentially we know that they're building something else as well. Maybe I don't know if they pivoted from that or not, but The Bitcoin ecosystem layer 1 wise doesn't seem to be too promising, and I say that in a bear market where people aren't releasing new information, right? But the information that we have right now is and I feel bad for Fractal, because if Bitcoin L1 doesn't get play, why the hell would you use Fractal? I mean, you don't have smart contracts or anything over there, and you can say S script and opcat, but we haven't seen any developments out of that at all either.
Yeah. That's the one thing is like, yeah, you can use it as a testing environment, but like for the user base and people that want to come over and do something, I mean, yes, it's a fork, except for with yeah, opcat. And I mean, I just like no smart contract capabilities. Like if I was them, I'd probably try to do something similar to like what
Yeah.
Cardano has, like with like some sort of smart contracts. I don't even know if you could do that because Cardano is completely different tech stack. But I mean, it's UTXO based, but proof of stake and all this difference to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what the future is going to be for Fractal, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they pull a rabbit out of their hat. Not Fractal necessarily, but Unisat, just because they had like a lot of backing earlier. There's nothing that really points to that though.
It seems like it's all runway at this point, right? It's like, how long can you get before? I mean, the uni worlds failed, right? I think they pivoted like 3 times. Still nothing from that part of it. Fractal kind of failed in a sense of getting attention. I don't think anyone's really paying attention to them now. I don't know. I just feel bad for Unisat. I feel bad for anyone
Don't feel
who
bad for them.
has
They have millions of dollars, I'm sure, still. You know what
how
I
much of
mean?
that has gone down the drain at this point? I mean, it's
Well,
probably
I
takes a
mean,
lot of money to keep a company that's not making any money up month after month after month.
yeah, but you have to remember too that like they didn't use their own money for the runway; they got the investment. So like just their platform alone from
Yeah,
2023, I'm sure they made like 50 to $100 million on
yeah.
fees throughout that whole year, right? Initially,
So
so
I think the people who are getting paychecks are very happy. I'm sure they all got bonuses and all that stuff, especially the CEO. But as the company Unisat now, like, what's next? How can they compete? Where can they compete without
another
pivoting?
thing too is that we gotta remember like it's like everywhere in the crypto space, not just the Bitcoin ecosystem, but a lot of areas pump the brakes on a lot of things.
Yeah, it's true.
Whether the only ones that didn't were like really hard narrative ones
Yeah,
in terms of like the election poly market.
yeah,
And at that point they already had funding for a long time. From I think they
yeah,
started at the end of the last bull run, and then Pump Fund, they have investors too, right? So
yeah.
um so we could see some stuff that they're just like, okay, one thing we consistently heard is we're waiting for the market conditions to get better.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean?
That's
And
true.
so we'll see. We'll see.
Get us comment, and then we'll get out of here. Do you guys read white papers and give your personal feedback for community members for a price? I found the L1 AI project, liked how I would like to get your feedback on it's legit or if it's just vapor. Yeah, reach out to us at OnChain Rev on X, or me personally at Shizzy OnChain, or at YagoBeverse, and just send us over what you mean. If we have time, well, we can definitely look into it. I'm not gonna tell you buy it or sell it or whatever, but I could definitely give you my our personal feedback on how we feel about it if we heard about it, because I'd be shocked if there was something like this and we didn't hear about it, right? So
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely feel free to reach out to us, or you can go to the show notes below and you can kind of get our Twitters from there as well, or X's, sorry. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, 257 people in here right now. Thank you, every single one of you guys, not including Spotify, Twitch, Rumble, and Abstract. Appreciate everyone who watches, listens, and follows us, man.
Yeah, it's actually a really great Wednesday, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys for supporting us. Without you guys, we could not do this, and also without our partners, we couldn't do it. And so we ask if you guys could check out our partners. That would make us really happy. We would greatly appreciate that. Emblem Vault is the interoperability tooling for Bitcoin Layer 1 assets. More specifically, ordinals. You're going to be able to jump your ordinals, your Natcats, your frogs, your node monks from Bitcoin Layer 1 to Merlin to Base to Arbitrum to Abstract, all the chains that are set up for it, and eventually Solana as well. And whatever chains become popular and request it, because we do believe in ordinals and that people will eventually want them in other environments. We're already seeing it with runes. But you're going to also be able to use their AI tool, Agent Hustle, to be able to help you do that. It's really cool framework that they're building, this AI agent to help you trade as well on Bitcoin in the future. So make sure you're looking out for that. Lastly, they have their Runes TGE, which is coming up in September this year. If you want to participate in that in kind of a pre-sale environment, you can do so at OpenSea. If you search Emblem Vault founder keys, you can actually purchase that as an ERC 721. And during their TGE unlock in September, you will get those Bitcoin runes in your Bitcoin wallet. Really bullish on these guys. They're marketing themselves everywhere, all over, the crypto space, with being able to jump all these ordinals around. You can learn more at emblem.vision. And BetBTC is the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Very, very soon, you guys are going to be able to, create your own destiny with your own markets and your following and all that great stuff. But right now, you can actually participate in their Blitz markets, which is kind of like taking leverage in a easy, simplified way. But yeah, you can learn all about that at betbtc.when, and make sure you're getting your points. You get 50 points, I believe, just for signing up for an account. You don't have to deposit anything. And if you have any points, you will receive something, is what they're saying, in terms of airdrop. So you can learn more about all this at betbtc.when. And Artura Finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They will be launching on Hemi Bitcoin Layer 2 very soon. And Hemi is actually backed by Binance. So, a lot of strong backing there. We will be recording a roundtable later today, so look out for that. Might possibly learn from one of these really talented experienced traders. But you're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungibles like Sats, Ordi, Doggo to the Moon, as well as tokens outside of the ecosystem, XRP, Tau, which right now they're doing a campaign. If you actually go paper trade Tau, I think you get an extra bonus to be in a raffle. So you can learn about all this information about these guys at artura.finance. And Fluid tokens, we just hit on them a little bit, but they are the first to offer retail staking vaults on Bitcoin Layer 1. Shout out to Pep Odins and a Sparks community from Odin, which actually is amazing that you could do this. But like, Odin is built with ICP technology and Bitcoin, but you're able to bridge Pep Odins and Sparks over to Bitcoin Layer 1 to stake in the Fluid staking vaults. And Sparks is actually closed right now, so you can't do that anymore. But Pep Odins, I think, is open for a little bit longer. And if you're interested as a Ordinal collection founder, or you started a rune and you want to set that up for your community, head over to their Discord. That's the best way to get through to them. Let them know what questions you have, and they should be able to answer you, as they have somebody that's constantly answering questions out of their Discord there. You can learn more about Fluid tokens at fluidtokens.com. And Merlin Chain, your #1 scaling solutions for Bitcoin layer native L1 assets and protocols. If you are a builder and you want to scale your protocol out a bit more, you can actually build on Merlin Chain. We know a couple amazing projects coming that's going to be building there very soon. They have really good builder support, guys. Also, if you are a retail user and you want to swap for Doggo to the Moon, you can do so at merlinswap.org, as they have strong liquidity there for Dog. Lastly, don't forget about their securing their chain and their proof of stake staking right now program. You can earn 15% APR if you stake your Merlin tokens. And Bitcoin is going to be coming to that very, very soon. We'll update you guys as soon as possible. You can learn about all this at merlinchain.io. Lastly, guys, don't forget about our integrated partners in Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, as well as their first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker. There's big news coming out from this team, but we're going to let them announce some of these bigger headlines coming up very soon. Just be excited about what they got coming, guys. But if you want to participate in the first-person shooter game, all you need is a Bitcoin wallet, or one of their supported other wallets, as in Phantom or MetaMask. And typically we'll do it on a Tuesday. We'll let you know the next one that's coming up, and everybody's invited. And the last thing I'll hit on is Ordinal Hive. They are the aggregator Ordinal marketplace for Bitcoin Layer 1 and Layer 2. So they will have the cheapest Ordinals around for both layers. And they also have amazing mempool sniping tools as well. So you can maybe grab something that someone accidentally price for a cheap price. That sucks that they did that, but someone's gonna buy it, right? So yeah, you gotta utilize their trading tools as well. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you. You're on mute, bro.
I wonder if X versus cancel tool can fix something like that. If you know what I mean, if you can just oh crap, and then hurry up and cancel it before someone bids on it.
Maybe.
I wonder if something like that could help. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. All right, guys. If you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out OnChain Revolution.io, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, send them our website. We really feel like it can help get started and quote up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, we have the #1 VPN. That's Nord. And that's my opinion because I've used them all, right? And Nord's always been one that I eventually came back to. And it's super cheap. Use our link here. It's $3 a month. There's no reason for you to go to websites and give them your IP. I know you've logged into Google or Amazon and stuff like that, and they sent you an email saying, hey, this person for me, and since Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was trying to get in your account. I'm like, that's me. Oh crap, my VPN wasn't on, right? So you definitely want to keep your VPN on, guys, at all times. If it's not Nord, there's free ones. In my opinion, they're not as good, but there is free ones. Go get a free one. Just make sure you guys are protected. Privacy is a right that you have. Everyone deserves privacy, and it's not just because you're doing illegal things. No, it's because you don't want to be tracked. We're Bitcoiners at the end of the day. We don't want anyone knowing how much Bitcoin we have, right? So definitely want to keep that privacy. And if you guys are going to Bitcoin at 2025, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, but do not wait until May to get your tickets. Get them as soon as possible. I'm telling you, if you buy these in May, you are not being smart with your money. As it's kind of a waste because they're going to be so overpriced because everyone wants to get tickets. Get them today. You have about 30 days probably for fair prices before it gets insane. But definitely check out our link here if you're going. And and that's it. And if you need merch for that event or any event, we have some of the best merch in all of crypto. Hit our store tab. That'll take you to our page. And you guys can look at some of the best merch in all of crypto. Definitely check everything out at OnChainRevolution.io. And we appreciate you guys. And remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed, gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.